Mom, how do you add a third and a fourth at 2 acres?
Third and a fourth? Well, let's see. 12 is your common denominator, so that would be 7/12 of 2 acres.
The man's taking away that much of our property.
Oh. What man's taking away? 7/12 of our property? You can't do that.
Oh, I'm afraid I can, ma'am. See, the county's got to put up a couple of towers here for what we call your high-tension wires.
Oh, that would be a terrible eyesore. And besides, this is private property.
Yeah, well, it may be, but you see, there's a thing called eminent domain. See, that's the government's right to do what it needs to do. It's all fair and legal, fair and legal.
Well, it may be legal, but it certainly isn't fair.
Well, it's an old saying, lady. I love old sayings. I love a good old... Here's one. You can't fight City Hall.
Who says I can?
Oh, well, you can try, but that's like trying to make the sun stop shining.
What else do you think we can't do?
Tell you, thanks for the jobs. Yeah, I've heard of it raining on one side of the street before, but never on just one person.
It's one of those temperamental flash floods, I guess.
Yeah, with my name on it.
I'm sorry about that.
Madam, will you stop shilly-shallying? Are you going to get rid of this wall ideal, or shall I?
Mr. Donaldson, do you realize that you would be destroying the charm and beauty of this property by putting up those towers?
Look, lady, you know, you cannot stand in the way of progress.
By progress, he means air pollution, traffic jams, and noise.
Would you keep out of this?
Oh, no, wait a minute. Don't tell me to keep out. No. See, I represent the county.
The county has to respect my rights, too.
Look, lady, you're just renting this place, am I right?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Huh?
Renting.
This is your landlord. What's his name? Claymore Flegg?
Flegg.
Craig?
Greg.
Okay. Well, now, he's your landlord, right? Okay, now, he received official notice. He also received a check for the purchase of the needed land. I personally delivered it to him. Oh. Yeah, and he had 2 weeks to register a complaint. Now, he didn't do it. He did not do it.
My broken phonograph record. I'll make you regret you've ever seen Gull Cottage.
Don't you dare. You can't go around zapping a government official. He's on legal ground.
Very well, madam. I will accede to your wishes. For the moment.
Just one moment, please, Mr. Donaldson. Do not touch a pebble on this property.
Oh, look, I'm afraid you're a little bit too late, Mr. Keg.
It is never too late for a man to come to the defense of his home, his good earth, his native soil. I never thought my lips would form these words, Mr. Donaldson, but here is your check back.
Claymore, what took you so long?
Well, it was a slight temporary lapse, Mrs. Muir, but when I realized the injustice, I had Ed Peavy, our acting constable, draw up this injunction. Oh, Mr. Donaldson, you are hereby injuncted. Just read it.
What the world was that? Mrs. Muir! What is this?
Mr. Donaldson, what is that bulldozer doing there? We have an injunction.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You do have an injunction, and I have a dismissal for your injunction.
Mr. Donaldson, we dismiss your dismissal.
Oh, look, hey, huh? Come on. This is a government project. Now, you're just wasting your time trying to hold it up. Get that tiger off me.
Scruffy, you're going to get it if you don't let go within the next hour.
Come on, Scruffy. Stop it.
Lady, now, I don't want any more trouble. I mean it. I mean it. I mean it.
Stop it. We're in enough trouble already.
What do you think you're doing, lady? Another one of your sudden flash floods?
Terribly sorry. It was an accident.
Well, one more of those accidents, and I'm going to have you up on assault and battery. That does it. That is positively, absolutely, and irrevocably the last straw. The last straw.
Don't blame me. I was nowhere near your bulldozer.
Well, somebody was. I can't take on the whole neighborhood. I need police protection. I do. I gotta have.
Now what am I gonna do?
Don't worry, madam. If he comes back, I'll keelhaul him and nail him to the mizzenmast.
Gentlemen?
Afternoon, Mrs. Muir. While Norrie's out of town, I'm your friendly neighborhood constable.
Oh, well, what can I do for you?
Go ahead, tell him what you're here for.
Mr. Donaldson here says that you've been interfering with government work, Mrs. Muir.
Well, there have been a couple of, little accidents.
A couple of little accidents. They sicked the dog on me. They doused me with water. They wrecked my truck. Smashed. A couple of little accidents. Well, look, Constable Peavy is here to make sure there are no more of those little accidents, Mrs. Muir.
Well, we didn't do anything on purpose.
I'm sure you didn't. Tell you confidentially, Mrs. Muir, lots of folks have heard about this, and they're all on your side.
Sabotage. Issue a restraining order.
Oh, sure. Mrs. Muir, restrain yourself. How's that?
You're doing?
Madam, I am going to dispose of this blasted behemoth once and for all.
Captain, you can't take the law into your own hands. Now put it down.
Well, Mrs. Muir, let's see if you can talk your way out of this one. In court.
Yes, perhaps it does make a good human interest story. But, I don't want to see any reporters. Yes, I intend to fight it through the courts. Thank you. Bye. That was the Consolidated Press.
Oh, you're a celebrity, Mrs. Muir. The individual versus the system really stirs people up. Hello? No. No, I don't think she'd be interested in being an honorary house mother for a radical hippie group. What next?
Madam, you photograph very well.
And you don't photograph at all. Do you know they're calling me the blonde basher?
What a pity we were interrupted before I had a chance to smash that infernal machine to pieces.
Captain, please, no more incidents. I'm going to fight this, but I'm going to do it properly in a courtroom.
Madam, in my day, there was a beautiful home here called a mansion house. The government decided to raise it for a proposed new harbor by the same right of eminent domain. It went to court. Those who loved it argued in vain. The court ruled against them as it will against you. And the final irony was that the new harbor was never built.
Mrs. Muir! Mrs. Muir! Mrs. Muir, you're on the news.
And so a lone widow takes a dramatic stand against the encroachment of big government. We don't know how it will end, Mrs. Marilyn Muir.
Carolyn!
But good luck to you up there in Schooner Bay. In the immortal words of Oliver Perry, don't give up the ship. And now, the local weather.
Well, in the immortal words of John Paul Jones, I have not yet begun to fight.
Hey, hi, Phoebe.
Morning, children.
I got a badge just like that, a Sir Hill box.
You don't say. Well, this is an official badge, Jonathan. Would you please tell your mother I'd like to see her?
Yes.
Yo.
Mom, Mr. Petey's here in his badge.
I wonder what he'd have to say about all this if he was here.
Kill all the blasted pirates!
And nail him to the mizzen mast.
Mrs. Muir, Martha.
Mr. Peavy?
Kids, there are cookies out in the kitchen.
Mrs. Muir.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you.
Oh?
On the other hand, I've got some good news, too.
Well, by all means, let's have the good news first.
The County Utilities Board has temporarily postponed work on them towers till your court hearing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It just goes to show you the power of a woman with a sledgehammer.
Seems that all this here publicity's got 'em upset.
Well, after that, I don't care what the bad news is.
I'm glad to hear you say that, Mrs. Muir. You're under arrest.
Under arrest?
Yep. The county is charging you with sabotage, interfering with a county project, malicious mischief, being a public nuisance, and using county equipment without an authorization.
Why, that's anti-feminine.
But don't you worry, Mrs. Muir. I got no intention of jailing you.
Well, you better not. You remember I'm the lifeline between you and your cherry pies.
You just keep out of sight, and I'll make believe like I couldn't locate you. Didn't see you anywhere.
Thanks, Mr. Peavy.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Well, sure pays to have friends in the right places.
Jail, how about that?
If Mr. Peavy hadn't been the acting constable, you could be on your way to jail right now. What a scene the papers would make over that. Think of it.
Hi, Mr. Peavy.
Afternoon, Mrs. Muir.
You're supposed to stay out of sight.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to come
But don't you worry, I ain't seen you. Been snoozing all day.
I'm a citizen of a free country, and I'm entitled to my rights, right?
Right.
Well, I want you to do something for me.
Oh, sure, Mrs. Muir. You just name it.
Put me in jail.
I not only haven't seen you, I haven't heard you either.
I mean it. I want you to put me in jail.
But, Mrs. Muir, I can't do that to you.
If you don't, I will be the first person in history to break into jail.
Are you serious?
Thanks anyway, Captain.
The jail cell is a most unsuitable place for a lady. Consider yourself liberated.
Please.
You should be at home in Gull Cottage.
I should be here. I'm under arrest, and I intend to stay until I can make my case to the public.
Visitors, Mrs. Muir.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, kids. How do you like my new room?
Oh, it's neat.
I'd say I like the way the Venetian blinds slant. No, not bad.
Everyone knows you're in jail, Mom. Boy, are we popular at school. My teacher says you're another Joan of Arc.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I'm only defending a principle. We have to stand up for what we believe, right?
Right. We're sure proud of you, Mom.
I brought you a few things. Change of clothing and your makeup kit for when you meet the photographers. And if you should change your mind, I'll be at home with a hacksaw.
Petey. Hello, Mrs. Muir, Martha. I brought the Boston papers. Look at that. Carolyn Muir fights county. Oh, we pushed the president right off the front page.
The president?
Of the Rotary Club.
We'll come back and see you later after shopping.
All right, fine, Martha.
I've wanted to do that ever since I saw George Raft do it in a movie.
Anytime, Martha.
Now get ready for this, Mrs. Muir. We are scheduled for a hearing at the county courthouse the day after tomorrow.
Oh, that's marvelous.
We have them on the run.
Well, we have to win the case first. Who's going to represent us?
I have just the man to fill the bill.
Who?
Me.
You? You're no lawyer.
Surprise! Class of 1957.
Unger Haber's Correspondence Law School?
And I graduated at the head of my class.
You were the only one in the class.
It was a very comprehensive course. The biggest trials in history. Why, I defended Nathan Hale against the British military court and got him off, too. Unfortunately, it was a couple of 100 years too late. Please, Mrs. Muir, it would be my property I'd be defending, and, well, I know your case better than anybody. Please, I know I can handle it.
Well,
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, does this woman, this beautiful, angelic widow, does she look like a saboteur?
A compliment like that, how could I resist?
If they just agreed to the price as promised, they won't drop charges, huh?
Do I look all right?
You look terrific.
I hope I'm in voice.
Well, you always are.
I took a lozenge.
Rest assured, I shall give this to our man very...
You see, madam, you're being sold out before the hearing's even begun.
Captain, I believe in the due process of law.
You'll change your mind, as I did. I shall always remember the tragedy of the Mansion House.
That was in 1842.
Elephants and ghosts never forget.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. This hearing will come to order, please. There are two separate issues. I've been advised by Mr. Abbott that Mr. Donaldson and the county will drop their charges against Mrs. Muir if Mr. Gregg agrees to accept the county's check for his property and guarantees there will be no further harassment by his tenant. We can proceed to discussion of price.
Object, you oaf.
And we may be able to reach an agreement speedily.
Tell him you object, Lummox.
I object, Lummox.
The name is Hickox, Mr. Gregg.
Oh, I can't bear to see this.
And what is your objection?
Pardon me, Your Honor.
We are waiting, Mr. Gregg.
Of course you are, Your Honor.
Say something, you nit.
I'm ready. Your Honor, it ill behooves one who has supped at labor's table and who has been sheltered under labor's roof to condemn with equal vehemence and fine impartiality.
What are you talking about, Mr. Gregg?
You see, we use it as a sort of a warming up exercise at Unger Haber's law course. Isn't it effective? Knocks them dead.
It escapes me how that's pertinent. I trust that you and Mr. Unger Haber are sufficiently warmed up by now to state your objections.
Yes, sir, my objections. What was I objecting to, Mrs. Muir?
Tell him you're not selling at any price.
I will not sell my Gull Cottage property for power lines at any price.
We are prepared to pay double the original offer.
Double? Did you say double?
And what if they did?
I restate myself, sir. I will not sell my property at any price. It is not for sale.
In that case, Your Honor, I'd like to present to the court evidence that may influence the defendant's decision. Unshakable evidence of Mrs. Muir's malicious interference. Picture and negative.
This is hardly unshakable evidence, Counselor. May I see the charts of the Gull Cottage area, Mr. Donaldson?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes. I got the charts right here. I got them right here. And you probably want to take a look at these survey reports too, right?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Huh? Yes!
If we ever needed you-know-who, we need him now to pull off a small miracle. But a legal one.
Read, you blasted bonehead.
There's no need to cast personal aspersions, Uncle.
What does it say?
All right, let's find out. Schooner Bay County versus the Mansion House, 1842, Mrs. Muir.
Now look at the last summation. Esteemed magistrate.
The last summation. Esteemed magistrate. Ooh, I like that. Esteemed magistrate. That's cute.
This is no place to prepare your case. Didn't you do your homework?
Oh, surely, sir. Right, Your Honor. Esteemed magistrate. The individual will always be in conflict with the group. The individual and the group will always be in conflict.
You just said that.
Oh, did I? Well, it stands to be repeated, Your Honor. The individual and the group
Will always be in conflict.
Captain, help.
And perhaps that is for the best. Mankind needs them both. For if the state were to be supreme, that would be tyranny. And if individuals were to be laws unto themselves, we would have the jungle. We are told that the Mansion House must go because the state decrees that it stands in the way of the public good. But the world groans under the burdens of mistakes made in the name of the public good.
The Mansion House, Mr. Gregg?
I quote it as precedent, Your Honor.
Let me see that.
You bet your sweet gavel.
What's a similar case? Schooner Bay County versus the Mansion House, 1842. Well taken, Mr. Gregg.
May I ask what the court's decision was in that case, Your Honor?
It found in favor of the county. In this case, it rules in favor of the defendants, Claymore Gregg and Carolyn Muir.
But, Your Honor, you're accepting an antiquated argument that lost in its own time.
Because it was ahead of its time. It was a moving plea to mankind to conserve beauty for the good of generations to come.
But what about the power lines, Your Honor?
I've looked at your charts, Mr. Donaldson, and I'm confident that the county could find a suitable alternate route for your towers. Court adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Not at all.
Thank you, sir.
You were very shrewd to bring up the Mansion House case, Mr. Gregg.
Oh, thank you, Your Magistrate. But never underestimate an Ungerhaber graduate.
I must remember that.
Your Honor, was that plea by any chance made by Daniel Webster?
You're half right, my dear. His first name was Daniel, and his last name was Gregg. Possibly an ancestor?
Oh, that is a very interesting idea, sir.
Now, if you'll excuse me.
Captain,
Madam.
that was quite a speech.
But if it lost, sir, the first time, why did you try it again after over 100 years?
Oh, I was spurred on by the immortal words of some great man whose name escapes me at this very moment.
What were the immortal words?
You can't lose them all.
Well, sorry we lost Donaldson.
That's the way it goes, eh?
I hope there are no hard feelings.
Oh, no, Mrs. Muir, you know, actually, in a way, I'm sort of glad you won. But my big problem now is I have to find a new route for the power lines, get those power lines.
Oh, well, I'm sure that'll be no problem. You seem like a very sharp, bright man to me.
I do?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Huh?
Really.